Welcome out to another episode of Drake's Dungeon. Sadly, I'm not joined by my co-host, my dog Toph. She is in the other room sleeping like dogs do. So it is just me this episode as the main host. But joining us is somebody who's been with Kixeye for a long time, been on our QA team doing some great work. He's here to talk to us today about the HTML5 beta that's coming up, as well as what he is doing on that project, because the beta is coming a lot sooner than you probably all think. So we're going to start talking about that today. So joining us is one of our QA folks, Malcolm.
Greetings, everyone. Good to be here.
So Malcolm, you have been with the company for a long time, and right now you're the QA lead for the HTML5 project. So what does that mean exactly? What does being the lead on this project really entail?
So what it really entails is we are having to more or less test every feature and functionality in the game and do probably the most thorough regression we've done, at least for as long as I've been here. We are currently, I'd say things are going pretty smoothly. Don't want to jinx it. But we're looking at holdout at the moment and been working with a couple of our fine gentlemen in Vietnam. It's going well. I'm really stoked for that. I'm really stoked for just getting to beta soon. It's been a long, rocky road. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're like I mentioned, we're much closer than I think people are expecting. And when I say this, by the time this episode goes up, we are likely just a few weeks away from launching this. So you're saying that things are going pretty good right now.
Yes, very smoothly.
Very smoothly. That's so good to hear, because when you're undertaking these big projects, there can be so many bumps in the road. Luckily, we already went through this process with Battle Pirates, so we kind of have an idea of what kind of struggles might come along. How many people on the QA team are currently working on this?
Well, there's three of us. There's me, and there's Jiba and Truk, I hope I'm saying that right, over in Vietnam. So it kind of works out perfectly. I come to work, I work on HTML5 like for all of our workday, and then I sign off, and at about 7 p.m. they hop on. So we've got many, many hours of coverage and got 3 sets of eyes on it just at all times.
Excellent. And luckily I get to be kind of a fly on the wall during all this, since I'm going to be preparing the community on how to access the beta and things like that. And I can certainly say that what you're saying is true, that we're coming along really well. I think we're even like ahead of schedule what we were originally shooting for the beta. So this is going to be hitting some plates, hitting people's plates a lot sooner than we originally expected, which is pretty exciting, because I know that we want to get this out there, and before any major changes happen to Flash, we want players to be able to have the chance to continue playing uninterrupted. Since this is the beta that's going to be coming out soon, we will expect that there's going to be bugs, much like when we removed AI box. Yeah. So if players want to help us find these bugs, if players want to be able to report these properly and everything like that, what do you, as someone in QA, need from players who want to help out with this process?
So I'd say what we're going to need is, just when you find a bug, just give us your user ID and just a general description of what you're seeing. And keep in mind that, while we have been testing this quite thoroughly, there's only been 3 sets of eyes on this. There's going to be bugs, and actually, scratch that. There's going to be a lot of bugs. So just, anything you see, call it out so we can get eyes on it. And prepare for a tidal wave of bugs.
Yeah, and that's and as you the players saw from when we went through this with the post AI box release, we set up a specific chat in our Discord to report things. So we're going to do a similar thing. We'll also be having a thread on the forums where players are going to be able to report things. And as always, you're able to report bugs that you encounter through the normal ticketing system if you
Yeah.
want to submit a customer support ticket. So there's going to be multiple ways. So, like Malcolm said, we want to make sure that you have your user ID. So if we need to check out your account, we can. Specifically, if there's things that seem to only be happening on player specific accounts, it's essential that we're able to check into the logs there. But more than anything, what we're going to be needing from players is patience, because since this is a beta, like Malcolm said, there's going to be a lot of bugs. So we want to make sure that players, we're working on it. We're doing the best we can as fast as we can. And keep in mind too is that since this is the beta, you can still play the regular Flash version of the game while this beta is going on. So if you do encounter more bugs while playing the beta than you would normally prefer, you still have the option to go back to the original for the time being while things are worked on. Yeah, but screenshots, videos of what you're encountering, along with your user ID, are going to be some great help for the team to iron out a lot of these bugs.
Now, I
So
will say that luckily there haven't been very many that we've found user specific bugs, but there have been a few. We're currently up to 132 bugs, most of which are resolved, but yeah, preparing for a whole lot more.
yeah, and that's the tough thing. Like you said, only 3 sets of eyes is not a lot, and you are constantly trying every variation of things that you can do. But when you start getting thousands and thousands and thousands of players, they're going to be finding things that you couldn't even think of just because you're only 3 people trying to test all this stuff out. So yeah, definitely helping us fix this, so when we actually have the official release towards the end of the year, we can get as much stuff patched up as possible.
Yeah, and many thanks to everyone who's going to participate and help us and provide meaningful feedback. Thank you guys in advance.
Yeah, most definitely. Being players that help out, that honestly is one of the biggest helps. One of the biggest things we have in our community is
Yeah.
how awesome they are with chipping in and helping out. A lot of players have the Malcolm Hero unit, which, surprise, is based off of you.
Yep.
You're you're kind of our resident outdoor survivalist expert here at Kixeye. You oftentimes have stories that make me never want to go outside again. When
Yeah.
when you talk about some of the things that you've encountered outdoors. Just so the community has a little bit of a chance to get to know you, I want to ask you, what's the craziest story you have being out in the wilderness?
Well, thought about that a little. And I'm going to say in summer 2018 was probably one of my craziest, most bizarre experiences. I was backpacking up near Smithers, BC. So if you go to Smithers and go to the west a bit, you'll come across something called Telqua Pass, and a little bit north of it is a place called Sinclair Plateau. Beautiful, secluded, nobody else up there, barely any trails even. I had just found it in like the dark depths of the web, and I was like, you know what? I'm hopping on a bush plane and I'm going up north. So as I'm hiking up this plateau, I'm starting to run out of water. It's early August and it's hot. I'm drinking a lot of my water, and there weren't very many streams. I walked across a few dried up streams, and as things were starting to get really steep, I eventually run out of water. But then it starts to level up out, excuse me, out a little bit, starting to get a bit thirsty. And I come to this slight clearing, and there's this very large tree, and I walk up to it, and in the shadows was a set of wolf tracks. If you guys don't know this, wolves are pretty big. I have large size hands. My hands can fit inside most of these tracks I find up here in northern BC. And a few of these
Wow.
tracks in this shadow of the tree were perfectly filled with water. I just grabbed my filter, refilled my water bottles, and it was perfect. And I kept going, eventually found a nice pond, refilled all my water, but it doesn't end there. I found a nice flat spot, decided I'd finish getting to the summit the next day and just kind of hang out. So I set up my tarp. Yeah, I use a tarp rather than a tent. I just like how lightweight and versatile it is. And I have some lentil curry that I dehydrated and then crawl into my shelter. And then the next day, I wake up, unzip my bivy sack, and roll over. And there's a set of wolf tracks leading right up to the shelter and just like right inside the entrance. So I kind of pieced it together. And what this basically meant is one of these wolves, whose footprint I may have drank out of the day before, came and saw me in the night and stuck its head into my shelter and just came to say hi. It was pretty awesome.
That is so scary to me. I mean, look, I was in Boy Scouts. I camped a lot growing up, but I've never done anything like this. And when you mention, I mean, just the fact at the beginning of your story, you're like, I took a bush plane out to this. Like most people have never even like seen a bush plane, let alone taken one somewhere. And
Well, they're
yeah,
pretty popular up in the north. Well,
that is
there's a
insane.
fun fact about bush planes. So British Columbia actually has in Canada the highest level of plane crash deaths. But with these bush planes, a fun fact is so they got two engines, right? They're designed so if one of the engines fails, the other engine is strong enough to get you all the way to the crash site.
That's, I mean, I guess that's good thinking, but still doesn't really make me so reassured. So
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
yeah,
You want to make sure you have a pilot knows what they're doing. Or there's plenty
absolutely.
of reputable airlines.
Well, Malcolm, thanks for taking the time and talking about the HTML5. And like I said, players, this is coming sooner than you think. In the meantime, our newest unit in the game is the Penance. You can find that currently in the gear store along with all its tech.
It's a fun
So if
unit
you,
to play with for sure.
it absolutely is. It's a great hit and run unit. I've been loving playing around with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to pick that up, it's in the gear store right now for you to get. Other than that, thanks again, Malcolm, and players. As always, thank you for playing War Commander, and we'll talk to you more next month. Bye.
See ya.